Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm Afefe with Touch by Tarot, and I am here for episode 3 of Think Tank Thursdays. I was really excited to do this one, you all, because I knew it was coming the day after the first GOP presidential debate. Wow, not a lot of things can drive me to Fox News, and I don't intend to go back anytime soon. But I got to tell you, I sat there and I watched that whole 2 hour debate, and then I switched over to MSNBC for some of the recaps afterward. So it was a really late night. I'm a little blurry eyed this morning. I got some green tea going here, but it was really interesting, you all. First and foremost, I'd love to hear your comments. I actually did not miss Donald Trump, not one bit. I thought, there was all of this debate about whether or not his decision to forego the debate was, aside from it being a slap in the face of the RNC, etc., which he could care less about, and his followers, his supporters could care less about. But I was also wondering, it was going to be a really interesting time to see the other candidates really have to, fish or cut bait and decide how they were going to deal with him. And instead, what happened is, which I think in some ways was more beneficial. We had an opportunity to see them for themselves, contrasted among themselves, the 8 of them, and and get a chance. We had a chance to listen to their stance on a lot of other things besides Donald Trump. So I was pleasantly, I was pleasantly surprised by that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. All right, so let's get to it. We're gonna get to some cards. I'm gonna keep this pretty short. Uh, when I'm looking at, in my mind's eye, the 8 of them spread across, and we know the way that Fox arranged them, of course, which is traditional. Those who have the least standing outward into towards the middle, who is most popular. So we had Ron DeSantis in the center, flanked by Mike Pence and Ramaswamy. And then from there, we had Nikki Haley and we had Christie. On some levels, I think, and then we had Tim Scott sitting over there at the end with Burgum. Burgum, who bless his heart, we know he tore his Achilles playing basketball. Why? Uh, well, I guess stress relief. I get it, staying active and healthy at 63. Good for you, Burgum. But it didn't work out so well. But he made it. He just looked, the entire time like he was just trying to say what he had to say before the pain meds wore off. Right? Just not a lot from him. Not a lot from Asa Hutchinson. Nothing surprising for sure. I didn't think anything helped any of them move the needle. Chris Christie was quite disappointing to me, you all. I thought for all of his fiery rhetoric, he's been the most outspoken Trump critic among the present contenders for the GOP nom. And other than a couple of, got to give him a little for the chat GPT comment he made towards Ramaswamy, who that's actually the 2 candidates I want to read on today, you all, are Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. Because to me, those were the 2 standouts last night. They were the 2 who really articulated. You got a sense from them who they really are. We already knew a lot about Nikki, but I think we learned a lot about Vivek. And some of it, to me, was a little scary. But I want to go to Spirit and let's see what Spirit has to say. You know, it came down to, well, before I get to that, Mike Pence, he came out swinging. You got to give him that. But I think Mike Pence was confused as to whether he was at some sort of, Christian convention, Bible study convention or whatever, because it was way, way over the top if he was really trying to reach a general electorate. He had a very specific target that he was, going for, with the constant references to the Bible and scripture. Not knocking his hustle on that. Like, do your thing. Everybody, religious freedom is, one of the most treasured things in this country. I certainly, appreciate that. But it was so over the top and it wasn't relevant to the topics at hand. I also have to say, I don't remember their names and I'm not trying to because I won't be back anytime soon to watch them. But the 2 Fox moderators, I thought, did a halfway decent job. So overall, I thought it was, it was worthwhile. It was time well spent. But I do want to look at, and before I go to Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, and see what Spirit has to tell us about their future, whether in fact the needle will move for them, and just see who they really are fundamentally as they appear in the cards to us, what we need to know about them going forward as the campaign proceeds. Ron DeSantis, who needed a win. He has taken some hammering both by his donors, his supporters, as well as the general public. You know, he's made so many missteps. He is so robotic. He is so mm, you know, I'm trying to watch my language early this morning, but the letters S and Z and O and a B come to mind. But let's keep it pushing, keep it positive. He did not, importantly, he did not move the needle last night. He didn't make any horrible, blunders, but he was who he is. He showed who he really is, which is he has zero personality. The one question where they were talking, I think it was about related to whether or not they would support Trump. And so you had Nikki and Tim Scott, everyone to his left, Nikki, Tim Scott, Burgum, all and Ramaswamy, all of their hands went up immediately. Absolutely, he did this quick survey of of everyone else before he just sort of did one of these at the last month. That tells you a lot about who he is. He has been so fundamentally, I think, shaken by the drop in his popularity in recent months and weeks. He doesn't know who he is or what he really stands for. He just sticks to the lines that he has learned to adopt. And when I say that, let me correct that a little bit. He knows fundamentally that he's a separatist, that he's a racist, that he's an elitist, even though that's a large part of his offensive, is that we're going to get rid of these elites, having with his elite grad, Harvard and Princeton, if I'm not mistaken, no, Harvard and Yale background. So those are the donors who helped put him on the map, and now he's going after all these woke corporations. What's happening with Disney continues to evolve and be very interesting. Bravo to Disney for not lying down and taking it. And this latest stunt about taking away the free passes and benefits to Disney employees, Disney's being one of the largest, or if not the largest employer in the state of Florida. Man, there is so much karma coming for this man. I can't even speak on it. Donald Trump today is going to be going to have to turn himself in. Let's see if we get a mugshot by the end of the day. I'm taping this in the morning. So let's go in on, and I'll follow up on that later. Let's go in on Nikki Haley, who came across last night really as a pragmatist. I thought that her, while I don't agree with many of her stances, I thought that she laid out a lot of truth in terms of responsibility, certainly in terms of the economy, for both the Republicans and the Democrats for too much spending. I thought oops, what just flipped? I thought she really made a lot of sense. Interesting, the Queen of Wands just flipped as I was talking about her. Now that comes out as Nancy Pelosi in this deck. I'm using the United States of Tarot deck. Comes out as Nancy Pelosi. But that last night was very much Nikki Haley. She was on fire. She was ready to stake her claim and have her voice be heard. Spirit, please show us last night's performance by Nikki Haley. Will it move the needle for her? Will it get her closer to taking over DeSantis even perhaps? Will Nikki Haley move up? And is it because of her stance? Will she get more support even from the MAGA base? We have the Six of Pentacles. Bless his heart, it's Jimmy Carter on that card. Let's all continue to pray for him in his state at this time in hospice. But Six of Pentacles. So yes, there's some offers that are going to come her way. There was a lot of talk this morning about ultimately was this an audition for the VP slot by all of them. We know we can eliminate at least 5 of them from that. Trump would never give them the light of day, include, Pence, etc., Hutchinson, the rest, but Ramaswamy, Haley, Tim Scott just didn't have it. He was milquetoast. He just did not have it last night. His, I'm a good guy. Let's all just be good people. I agree in principle, but that didn't do it. All right. Going back to Nikki Haley. Spirit, what would you like to tell us about her at this time? Six of Cups. This is really interesting. Two sixes flank this Queen of Wands, you all. She wants to bring back a certain sense of civility, and I think that was apparent last night. She wants to see government function in the way that she came up knowing that it could function. And I think she saw a window to that, and she found a way to really articulate that. That was her offering to the American public last night. Will it move her closer? And is she someone, let's go ahead and ask the question, because we know who the nominee is going to be, will Donald Trump consider Nikki Haley as a running mate? Based on, Nikki's performance, and if she continues to perform, Spirit, will Donald Trump consider her? Will he really give her a look as a running mate? Well, he shows up, King of Swords of all people on this deck, Barack Obama, who, by the way, we'll get to Ramaswamy in a moment. But did you all check him out with the reference to "I'm just a skinny kid with a funny name"? Like, come on, dude, you can't be more original than that. We remember that line from Barack. Get to him in a minute. Nikki Haley. Will Trump consider her? Are you ready? You saw me do the shuffle and pull. There we have it. Trump as the twisted emperor showing up. He'll consider her. We know she was a part of his cabinet, ambassador to the UN. He respects her. And to the extent we know, I think Spirit has been very clear. I certainly have the inclination that he is going to choose a woman for various reasons, Dobbs especially. He's going to choose a female, but we also know his ego. It can't be someone who will outshine him. Take note, Ramaswamy. It can't be someone who would outshine him, and it can't be someone who he'd have to fear. I think on some level he would trust her, because even though she came, to a razor thin margin of being critical toward him, I think he understands that she's fundamentally, he knows who she is. He can look at her and understand what he's working with. And we have the Prince of Cups confirming he likes her. He actually likes her. And we know his loyalty isn't to no one. So, that could get ugly tomorrow. But for right now, based on her performance last night, Spirit is saying that, yes, Nikki could very well be someone who, when Trump gets the nomination, that he taps as his VP. Especially based on her performance. And if she, of course, we got a long way to go. If she continues to perform, if she continues to get her message out there, and if she gains traction, then Donald Trump will look at her as, we got the King of Cups with strength, 100%. For him, it's about who would be loyal to him, especially with everything that he's gone through. It's about who would be loyal to him. And Nikki Haley, I think... their dynamic aside, I think that would have to get hammered out, but he would see her as someone who, what she will say what she means, and if she adopts a certain stance and a certain platform, certain policies, she will see it through. He won't have to look over his shoulder. For herself, in terms of her, how does Nikki feel about her performance last night, Spirit? What's her thought process today, the day after? What is her thought process? Ace of Pentacles. She's very happy with what she did. She is very happy, very satisfied with her performance today. And she feels like it is the start of the next phase of her campaign. And also coming in Pentacles, you all, and it came with death. All right. That's a rebirth. She really does want to bring back a certain degree of pre-MAGA politics. She really does. She wants to bring back, she understands. She made a couple of comments last night about, it was in relation to the abortion ban issue. And she made a couple of comments about numbers. Bottom line, here's what it would take to get it through Congress. While everyone else was just talking blah, blah, blah. She was, really hammering home. This is what we have to consider in terms of getting anything passed. And here's the numbers that it would take. And is that doable? I mean, I think that's why death is coming up. She understands. And also notice what that death is too in this deck is that Confederacy back there. I think in relation to Nikki, This is saying she does not appreciate the vitriol. She does not appreciate this extremism. She really wants to push that, her personal needle and the needle of politics in general, Republican politics, conservative politics, a little back toward, what is manageable, what is doable, what feels lawful. And the final card I'll pull for her is the Eight of Cups. Yeah, you know, she's ready to let some bygones be bygones in terms of moving on from 2020. That's the bottom line. And so I think this goes both ways. We looked at whether or not Trump would consider her as a running mate. Definitely a yes on that. But also, she would consider him. She would be more than happy to align herself with him because that confirms this Ace of Pentacles. For her, she'd see it as a fresh start to recalibrate the tone of politics in this country. She feels like she would be the face of that tone, how to establish it. And this Eight of Cups is definitely her willingness to move past all of what happened in 2020 and this death. Does Nikki Haley believe that Donald Trump is going to be convicted? Does she believe? We know he's going to be the nominee. I think we know that all of these cases are not going to be done in time for the 2024 election. Does she believe that Trump will go to jail? Does Nikki Haley believe that Trump will go to jail? Five of Swords. She's not sure. And the Moon, she has concerns about it. It's Comey on the Moon. She has concerns about it for sure. Don't they all, even his greatest supporters, have concerns about it? But the Five of Swords is coming up to say basically she thinks that there's a way that he can get out of it, and that so much of it will depend on what happens as these things proceed to trial. If in fact there are plea bargains, which we know that he won't take a plea deal, but I think for her, she's for her own plans in terms of the way forward, she's not ready to take that leap in terms of actually envisioning him out of the equation, out of the political equation. She's still hedging her bets on that, but she does have concerns, and she's thinking about what are the alternatives in case he does go away. But again, I think she and the rest of the country, nobody's expecting that to happen prior to the November election. Yeah, the Nine of Cups. Her wish is that he stays in it, especially if it benefits her, that he stays in it long enough to get through the election cycle, the 2024 election cycle, and then see what happens from there. But she's worried about it. Would not stop her. Again, if Trump gives her the nod, she's all in, and she will be loyal to the platform that he has. But she will also try and bring a certain level of, again, pragmatism. That's the word that's going around about her, and I think it fits totally. She'll bring a certain amount of pragmatism toward him. Whether or not he'll be accepting of that, that would be, he knows that. He's not stupid. He's crazy in some days, but he's not stupid. He knows that, and that would be part of his reasoning for incorporating her, because he wants that general electorate and not just his base. He has his base, but he knows he's going to need more if he's going to beat Biden. All right, let's move on to Vivek Ramaswamy. He certainly loves the limelight, and he's certainly brash. He's arrogant. He's smart. He is handsome, and he had that audience wrapped around his finger last night. Like, he could just do no wrong. Every time he flashed that brilliant smile, and no matter what, he's unflappable. He has an answer to everything. The audience was eating it up. Whether that appealed to a broader audience, whether that appealed to America, that's what I want to see. I want to look at whether, he's closest to taking over. Pence didn't do it. Pence is not going to do it. So you had DeSantis, as the highest ranking in the crew. You had Pence on one side and Ramaswamy on the other. Pence, take a seat. Ramaswamy, let's see what happens. Is Ramaswamy going to get closer to DeSantis? Will he overtake DeSantis? Will Vivek Ramaswamy overtake DeSantis' spirit? Will he overtake DeSantis? Eight of Swords. Wheel of Fortune. And the Nine of Pentacles. You know what? More lies are going to come out. There was something that came out this week where he did I think it was an interview with the Atlantic. And I can't remember now, you all, what it was that he said. But he came, no, how could I forget, 9/11. And he implied that the government, our government, was tied to the attacks on 9/11, that he had, the whole conspiracy theory about, was it something that our government cooked up? And he put that out there, then doubled back and lied about it and said, no, no, I did not say. And then the Atlantic turned over the audio tapes. And so it was point blank, period. Oh, yes, you did, sir. The question about whether the needle is going to move and he'll replace DeSantis, I got the Eight of Swords here. That was my first card out. I don't think so, because he's going to, this is Sean Spicer, by the way. He's going to, more lies are going to come out. Was he flashy and cute and all of that? Absolutely. Was he entertaining? Yes, absolutely. Did he raise the temperature in the room a little bit? Yes, absolutely. But is he fit for any elected office, considering that he has no experience whatsoever? I don't care how many gazillion, millions, billions he's made in by the biotech industry. He's not a politician. He came straight out and said, I'm the only one here not bought and paid for. I am not a politician. Then why are you running for the highest political office in the land? Please tell me. So he talks out of both sides of his mouth, and I think that more and more that's going to be revealed with this Wheel of Fortune card coming. Kellyanne is there with the alternative facts, and that alerts me. Spirit is saying there's more that's going to come out. And also I think people are going to start to look more deeply into his money. If he does rise in popularity, more investigations are going to be done, and to the extent that they're not already being done. And we're going to find out more about how he's made his money and what he has done with his money. Two cards just came. We have the King of Cups, which is Biden, and the Fool. Excuse me. I made the mistake of putting on some more incense today, you all. I know that incense gets me. We have Biden and the Fool. This is what he has going for him, you all. His youth. And as we know, the majority of Americans are not tripping over themselves, and dancing in the streets over the Biden campaign. There are concerns about his age, his health, his etc. We know that. But we don't have any questions about Biden's heart and who he is in relation to the American people. Lifelong politician. You all know his story. So Ramaswamy is looking at himself with that Fool. He's just going to continue to sell notice the contrast here. The older, mature guy, Biden, versus the young, brash MAGA guy, ready to jump off the cliff and do something new, as represented by the Fool. This is the contrast that he wants to continue to play up. And so to the extent that he can continue to, play on people's, I don't want to call it fears, but perhaps biases around ageism and around Biden's ability to actually carry out another 4 years. And, that's a year from now. If he's elected, he'll be 82 when he takes office. So that's taking him to 86. It's a question. And Ramaswamy is going to really try to hammer that home. But ultimately, no. Ultimately, I got the Five of Cups. That's that's the card of he's going for too much, and he's gonna realize. We got Abe Lincoln. I want to show that to you because it illustrates. We got Abe Lincoln looking at, all these cups spilled. Why did I say what I did? Why did I put forward all this money? He spent a ton of his own money in his campaign efforts. And then we have, the two sides going at each other in the background. He wants to fuel, pour fuel on that. He wants to play on people's emotions. He's manipulative, as many politicians are, but he's scary manipulative. because he's one that will sell it to you with a smile on on his face and make you believe it. Thank you, Spirit. They never lie. I got the trickiest card in the deck that came up as I said that, the Seven of Swords. Exactly. He'll stab you in your back and then go, oh my gosh, are you bleeding? You know what I mean? This taping is for entertainment purposes only. I got to put that in there. Just going with what I see on the cards. This man is not trustworthy. In contrast to Nikki Haley, who, whether you like her or not, like her policies or not, she means what she says. I think she's a pretty straight shooter. Politician as though she is, she's a pretty straight shooter. Here, by the way, I should point out the depiction on this deck. This is Michael Cohen, Seven of Swords, that sneak, that thief, that person who, you got to watch, will play the game to their own advantage, right? That's what Ramaswamy is. And he very much is a Trump 2.0. He's a mini-me. He is modeling, he's studied how Trump has won. He's extremely shrewd, extremely smart, and extremely deceptive. Extremely deceptive with that Seven of Swords. We have the Princess of Swords who comes out as well, and it's Sarah Huckabee. It's just, her whole aura is just difficult to deal with. But yeah, he talks out of both sides of his face. Trump is not, he's not. The thing is, Trump is not going to consider someone who would take away any part of the spotlight from him. And Ramaswamy, Vivek absolutely would do that. We have the moon that comes up around him as well. Light will be shed on him. In that context, we have a lot that's going to come out about Vivek Ramaswamy, you all. It's going to come out around his money. It's going to come out around his past, his behaviors. They're going to find people who are willing to talk about him, whether it's on the record or off. And I have a confirmation, 8 of Wands, as I said that. We're going to get a lot more. If the needle does move up and towards DeSantis, then we can count on more in-depth investigations going on around Ramaswamy, Vivek Ramaswamy, his money, his background, his history, how he's treated people. And there are some things that are going to come to light that are not going to be favorable to him at all. Ace of Pentacles, got the confirmation. Ace of Pentacles. No. Now, will he go away? I don't think so, because he's gotten a taste of the limelight, you all. He's gotten a taste of what this feels like. So he's not going to go away. But he's not going to go where he's trying to go. That's going to be shut down. All right? All right, you all. Thank you for tuning in with me for a third episode of Think Tank Thursdays. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about the debate last night in general. And enjoy today, because we might get, Donald Trump might have a very interesting photo op. Let's see what happens, you all. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.